Hey guys, a few hours ago the Fedora project announced the release of the Fedora 28 beta. I've got to check it out. Okay, so Fedora 28, the beta was released today. This is April 3rd, 2018. Now the official release date for Fedora 28 is early May, I believe the 1st of May. But the Fedora project, they often delay their releases. They always seem to get pushed back for one reason or another. So it may or may not be out the first week of May. We'll see. But they did go ahead and release the beta edition of Fedora 28 today. Let me pull up the release announcement here in the browser. Here at fedoramagazine.org, announcing the release of Fedora 28 beta. They're pleased to announce the immediate availability of Fedora 28 beta, the next big step on our journey to the exciting Fedora 28 release in May. Well, let's see some of the big news. 64-bit ARM now primary architecture for Fedora server. I'm not taking a look at the server edition today. I'm going to download the workstation edition. So for desktop use, GNOME 3.28 is the GNOME version they're using. VirtualBox guest editions are working out of the box. That's great because I'm actually going to install this in VirtualBox today, so lucky me. Kubernetes 1.9, we're not going to do anything with Kubernetes. Again, I'm going to take a look at the workstation, not the atomic version or the server versions. Let's see what else. A few package updates. glibc is 2.27, GCC 8, Golang 1.10, and Ruby 2.5. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and download that ISO. It's 1.8 gigs in size, and I'm going to install this inside VirtualBox. Okay, so I downloaded the ISO, created a virtual machine here, so booting into the live environment here, at least I hope so. This is a beta. There could be some bugginess to it. But this is Fedora Workstation Live 28 beta. Alright, and wow. It's a really beautiful live environment, I must say. Fedora has come a long way in the last few years. It's really become a polished, very beautiful desktop. And I'm not a big fan of the GNOME desktop. Let me go ahead and click on the installer. I'm going to run through the install real quick. Alright, it's asking about language. English is correct. I'm going to click continue. This is unstable pre-release software. You wake up inside an OS installer in Timbuktu, and it's 6 months in the future. But there are bugs. Bugs everywhere. Bugs you must live with. This OS of the future isn't a stable OS you can rely on. It's for testing purposes only. I have the options of get me out of here or I accept my fate. I accept. That's cool that they warn you that it's a beta, but it's a little over the top, don't you think? Anyway, keyboard, English US is already set for me. It's correctly chosen my time zone too, so I don't have to do anything there. Let's just go ahead and do the partitioning. Alright, so I gave this virtual machine a 15 gig hard drive. And I'm just going to, you know what, go ahead and let it do its thing. See if it'll do some automatic partitioning for me here. Let's see, so click on the disk, storage configuration, automatic, custom. Yeah, I'm just going to do custom. I believe all I need to do here is click done. Select, well now it's still asking me. Okay, alright. But I still have this little warning. Now, it says automatic partitioning selected. Okay. Begin installation. That's weird how it takes a second for it to, for the little icon to change from the warning to everything's okay. It looks like it's installing the software. See, installing software, 8%, 9%. I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes while this runs. Alright, so the installation is completed. It says Fedora is now successfully installed and ready to use. Go ahead and reboot and start using it. So let me hit quit. And let me restart the VM here. Alright, so I rebooted the VM. It's our freshly installed Fedora 28 beta. I couldn't help but notice it looked like the kernel version if I was looking at the bootloader menu correctly, was 4.16. That is like practically brand new, like out within the last day or two kernel. So very, very recent kernel, if they are in fact using 4.16. All right, so back in the GNOME desktop. Now we ran through the installer before, but we didn't set a username or any of that stuff, so we still have a little bit of work to do here on reboot. So this is the welcome screen. I'm just going to click next. All right. Why is this menu, or this, I guess I can't actually move this here. I guess it's fixed to that location in the center of the screen. Privacy, location services are ticked on. Allow applications to determine your geolocation. Yeah, that's fine. Automatic problem reporting is also turned on. That's fine too. I'll leave all that kind of stuff ticked on, especially if I'm running a beta. If it helps them out with their project. I'm not going to connect any online accounts though. And about me, full name, DT, username, DT. Sounds good to me. Set a password. Let me set a super difficult to guess password. And let me confirm that super difficult to guess password. Okay. Passwords need to be longer. Try to add more letters, numbers, or punctuation. So are you seriously not going to let me pick whatever password? It's going to make me choose a better password. I hate this. So I created a slightly more difficult password. Let's see. Let me make sure they match. All right. Is it still not going to let me choose? Let me choose something crazy with a lot of random characters. Okay. I guess it liked that one. All right, now I can actually click next. That's crazy. I mean, if I want to pick a really, really weak password, it should allow it. I mean, I don't mind it warning me, hey, that's a really bad password you chose, but especially since I'm just testing this in a VM, I know I chose a really weak password. Just let me do what I want. This is Linux. This isn't, you know, some locked down proprietary garbage operating system like Windows or Mac. Anyway, back to the login manager, and now it lets me log in as the user I chose, DT. Now let me type in this really crazy password I had to sign up with. I hope I remember this thing. If I keep this VM for very long, I probably will not remember that password that I had to give. That's another thing with these VMs. That's why I always choose these really simple, weak passwords. It's because I'll remember them. Alright, and this is Fedora 28 beta. And we are greeted with getting started here, their little greeter program. And the greeter gives us basically some links to common tasks such as browse the web, connect to online accounts, get online, change the date, time zone, use system search, launch applications, change the wallpaper, use windows and workspaces, and switch tasks. It also gives us a link for GNOME help. I'm just going to go ahead and close that out. Let me check out what programs are installed by default here in Fedora 28 beta. The show applications. Okay, that took a second. That animation, it took a second for that menu to come up. I don't know if you guys saw that on the recording. It wasn't a really bad lag, but it was a little laggy. Anyway, installed on the system, we have GNOME Boxes. GNOME Boxes is basically a virtualization program, very similar to VirtualBox. I've never actually used GNOME Boxes because it's a GNOME program. I don't usually run GNOME, but I should play around with GNOME Boxes at some point. Maybe install some VMs in it just to check it out. I hear it's a really nice program, actually. And, of course, we have a calculator, a calendar, Cheese. Cheese is a webcam program. We have clocks, our contacts, documents, Evolution, that is the email client in the GNOME desktop environment. Files, of course, is the Nautilus file manager. Firefox. Let's see what version of Firefox we have in this beta. Alright, this is Firefox Quantum. This is 59.0.1. will say the virtual machine really slowed down after I opened Firefox. You see how slow the mouse was moving there when I had the browser open? Now it's still kind of sluggish. Yeah, the VM has really slowed down a little bit since I first opened it. I mean, not sure what's causing that. I mean, it is a VM, and this is a beta release, so I can't harp on it too much. Now I am going to take a look at Fedora 28, the official version, when it comes out, so I won't bash on Fedora. If, like I said, there's a little bugginess, it's to be expected. It's a beta release, and they expect there to be bugs, and they hope that those of you that try out the beta release, including myself, if I find any bugs, file a report. Of course, we have LibreOffice installed. We have Calc, Draw, Impress, and Writer. We have the GNOME Maps utility. Really neat little mapping utility. Do I grant access to... we have to give it access to our location, of course. It's going to use geolocation. And I gave that program access. I granted it access to use our location, but the Maps program never opened. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Anyway, let me go back to the menu. Actually, maybe it is running because there's a little line under it. Now, of course, it's in our dash here too, or dash to dock or whatever that thing is. Not exactly sure what's going on with that program though. I don't know. That Maps program is running. Pretty sure, but I don't know. Again, some bugs are to be expected. We have GNOME Photos. This is our photo utility, our photo manager. Alright, let's see. We go to About. This is Photos 3.28. Again, we're on GNOME 3.28, so most of the applications will also follow the same scheming of 3.28 for version numbers. Man, that took a long time to kill that window there. There's some real sluggishness in this VM, more so than most. Even other GNOME VMs, it's not the lightest desktop by any means, but this is kind of sluggish. And I gave this VM 2 cores of my 6-core CPU, and I gave it 4 gigs of RAM. So I wasn't stingy with system resources. I gave it plenty to work with here. Of course, let's load up Rhythmbox. Rhythmbox is not a lightweight program either. It is a very, very nice audio player, though. I really like Rhythmbox. Alright, let me get my head out of the way here, and I'm just going to quickly show you guys the rest of the programs that are installed by default. Let's scroll down a little too fast. Anyway, we have our settings. I guess that's the settings manager. Simple Scan is a scanning utility. Software is the GNOME software. Sundry is a subcategory, and it has problem reporting. Okay, this is where you would report, I guess, crashes. Text editor, of course, this is gedit, the standard text editor in GNOME. Under the utilities category here, we have our archive manager, characters, disk usage analyzer, the disk utility, that's the GNOME disk utility, document viewer for viewing PDFs. We have our fonts, help, image viewer, logs, screenshot, system monitor, and the GNOME terminal. Let me open up the system monitor, because I'm kind of curious, since we're having some sluggishness here, what kind of system resources are being used here. Yeah, wow. That is crazy high CPU. One core is using 100% and the other one's using 50%. Yeah, there's something going on here. That should not happen. So I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, but that's really, really, really high. Memory is also high, 2.1 gigs of 4 gigs. What is causing that? Let me check the processes here, and let's see if I can sort it by CPU percentage. Of course, the highest CPU percentage is taken up by the GNOME shell itself, and the system monitor itself is taking up a lot of CPU. So it seems like just running the GNOME shell is really the cause of the problem. That's kind of strange. And the GNOME shell, of course, is the biggest memory hog too, using 400 megs, just the GNOME shell, not any of the, other background services and stuff that may be running. All right, well, that's unfortunate. All right, and the only other programs installed are the GNOME video player, which is Totem, and GNOME Weather, which is a weather utility. So let me get back out of this. All right, I'm going to right-click on the desktop. I'm going to choose Change Backgrounds. Let's see if they've already included a new wallpaper pack with this version of Fedora. There's only 2 wallpapers to select. The default one, which is actually kind of nice. I like this blue wallpaper, or this thing here. Not sure what this is. Let's select it. No, I'm not digging that one at all. So I guess I'm going to go back to this one here. I guess that's all we had. So no real options for wallpapers. All right, let me pull up a terminal. I'm going to hit the super key on the keyboard. Just start typing terminal. Yeah, then it comes up. Hit enter. And I'm going to do a uname -r. Yeah, they really are using 4.16 for a kernel. Wow. It's a very, very new kernel. So people often talk about Fedora being kind of a bleeding edge distro. There you go. Because not too many distros are on 4.16. Very few. All right. Let's see if we know there's no wallpapers. There's probably no themes or no extra icons. Fedora is basically the vanilla GNOME shell. I know this. It's been this way for years. But let me see if they include the GNOME tweak tool. No, it is listed when we do a search, GNOME tweaks, but it's listed under the GNOME Software Center, so we can install it. So no real theming or icon options or even wallpapers. It's a very plain vanilla GNOME shell. No extensions installed either. I mentioned earlier this dock here. I called it dash to dock just out of habit, but this is not the dash to dock extension. I would need to install that. It's one of the complaints that I have, and a lot of people have of Fedora, is they just ship the very vanilla, very plain GNOME shell. It is what it is. They're very closely tied to the development of GNOME, so that's why they ship GNOME as it's intended. The plain vanilla GNOME. I can't fault them too much for it. And it's a minor gripe. Those of you that want to tweak your system, with different theming options and GNOME extensions, you guys know how to do that anyway for the most part. For your typical average computer user, they're not going to tweak their system at all. They're going to just use what's given to them and they're going to be happy. So, yeah, so let me close that VM. So, that was my very brief look at the Fedora 28 beta. Again, there's not too much to look at as far as, the desktop. It's a very plain vanilla GNOME desktop. Same thing Fedora always has. It's been that way since the beginning. It does come with a nice collection of software installed by default, though. I give it that. And it's bleeding edge. I mean, really fresh packages, very recent versions of everything, which a lot of people will love. A lot of people, especially if you want stability, might not like having such bleeding edge packages in a distro. Me, I don't mind it too much. What are my thoughts on the install? Standard install, the Anaconda installer, even in this beta, worked fine. The desktop was having some issues. I had some serious problems with resource usage, very high CPU and very high memory usage. I'm not sure why. Also, that GNOME Maps program, I'm not sure what was going on with it. I launched it. It was running in the background. I could see it in the system monitor too. It was one of the processes running, but had some kind of crash going on. Anyway, it's a beta though. So I'm definitely going to check out Fedora 28, the official release in May. I may actually put it on physical hardware. I may find a machine, either a desktop or a laptop, to put that thing on, because I would be interested in seeing how Fedora 28 runs on physical hardware, on real hardware, and maybe even putting it on something and living in Fedora for a few days just to check it out, and living in GNOME for a few days just to check it out, because Again, I'm not a GNOME fan, but you know what? I need to give it a fair shot. So that is a very, very brief look at Fedora 28 beta. Before I leave, guys, I want to give a shout out. A special thanks to all my patrons, all my Patreon supporters. Ron, Brian, Carl, Greg, Carlos, Rob, Mark, Christian, Benjamin, Stephen, Marcus, Kevin, Bob, and Darkwin778. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys help make this show possible. Peace, guys.